Hello, welcome to this podcast. Today we are looking at how do we go about conscious conception? What does conscious conception mean? What does it look like? How do we ground this idea of becoming parents in a conscious and a way that's filled with intention? So, before we go into this topic, why don't we go from the highest place possible? Let's go from within. So let's take a minute to just close our eyes and have a little mini guided meditation here. And I'll do this with you. And that way you can listen to this content from the fullness of your inner being, from your connection to whatever your divine is. And so that you can start imagining this a conscious way of going about bringing in a child to this world. So let's just start with our eyes closed and breathing. So you're just doing a natural breath where you're watching just normal breathing, because that helps the two hemispheres of the brain kind of knit together, just this watching. So just do that for a few breaths. And continuing with our eyes closed, we can kind of bring our attention to our heart area, the upper chest area. And we're still breathing, watching the breath moving in and out of the lungs, but also maybe you could have a sense of breathing metaphorically through the heart area. And in that softening of your being, that observation of breath, you can invite your heart to open up a little bit more. Maybe you could have an image of something you're grateful for. Or maybe an image or a feeling of anticipation of the baby that you're inviting in. Maybe you could feel the sweetness of that, the excitement of that. Just breathe into the love in your heart. Just breathe into that for a minute. And as you're doing this breathing, you can actually help yourself to ground more into the present moment. It's almost like having a sense of being rooted like a tree into the earth, into Mother Earth. This rootedness, this groundedness is very important in the process of becoming pregnant, is having a sense of being in material form that is at peace with itself. And it comes from being stabilized in the material form. So you're kind of energetically feeling more peaceful, sending energy downwards so that you feel supported. See if you can feel that a little bit. And continuing with your eyes closed, just imagine that now not only you're rooted and your heart is a little bit more open, but imagine the top of your head, what is called the crown chakra. Just imagine that being wide open and receptive. So you're receptive to the input from a friendly universe, from your creator, just so that there's this flow from top to bottom and then back up. So you have an energetic system that is kind of circular around your being, and that it's fluid and unimpeded and receptive. And so kind of paying attention like this from the insides out and all around you really helps to get to a different state of listening and of being for this podcast. And it helps me also to feel grounded in what I'm about to say, and also sets the tone for dreaming into how do we consciously want to invite a soul into this world. So we can open our eyes and start becoming more present to this conversation. And thank you for joining me today. I think that this topic is very important. I think this is, we're at a state in conscious evolution on the planet where the world is in flux, and we need to invite souls in to incarnate here, to become part of our worldly journey from the highest place possible. So consciously intending to become parents and to invite a new being onto this earth, I'm hoping that you're aiming high, that you're aiming to have an experience of family that is as elevated as you can get it, is as heart-filled and as kind and as expansive and creative as you can imagine. And I can say, after 35 years of attending to births and families and family making and watching various patterns, I can say that conscious intention goes a long way, long way towards inviting and raising more conscious beings here on the earth. And if I could point to one of the main problems on this earth, is this sense of a separation from each other, a sense of a separation from the love that supports us from the divine. And that can create war. That can create all sorts of ways that the ego is playing in the world, and it can create just destructive ways of being embodied. And we want to kind of go to the other side of our potentiality and bring in the beauty, bring in the grace and the sweetness for each other, and a certain ease in being on this earth. And you can actually do that. I've watched many couples do conscious conceiving, conscious preparation, where they've invited souls that come from the highest plane possible. And I can see that that plays out in having children that are very awake and alive and at peace, and wanting to bring in this new world that we know we're capable of, this beautiful world we're capable of. So it starts with parents, and it starts right here in this conversation about, well, how would we do this? How would you invite this soul? And what I see many parents doing is they actually start a conversation just with their imagination, and sometimes they actually sense that there is a being waiting to be born through them, and to just put out the invitation to just say, I want to be your mother, I want to be your father, I want to invite your highest abilities to come here on earth, your most your deepest aspirations for this little planet that needs your love. And to start having that conversation, to start connecting to the possibility that there is someone there that is looking and waiting to be your parent, your child, and you to be the parent of that baby. So maybe just, one day you close your eyes and you go in your heart and you just start seeing if you can sense that person, see if there's a conversation you could have. How would you invite your dream child here? What would that, and could you hear a response from them in that invitation? So just start very simply with that. And then I would go also to ritualistically to light a candle. Maybe you have in your family, you would want to have an altar, a little place to sit where there's two cushions and a little table with a candle on it. So a place where you go regularly, either to meditate or to pray or to think together as a couple, to just be at peace, to know that there's somewhere in the home where there's a place where you can sit in peace, and that you'll be held somewhere in a friendly universe. So I believe that if you create a location in your home that is designated for spiritual connection or inner peace time or just happiness, a supportive happiness, and it's a place where you can sit either in a cushion or in a favorite chair, and maybe there's some symbols like a candle or some incense or some favorite books that inspire, but someplace where you and your partner or just you alone can go regularly And when this child comes here, it's also a place where the family can go. But to create that kind of initial aspiration towards an expansion of your heart, and that it actually in the material form looks like something in your home. It looks like an altar, it looks like a chair. Maybe you have your headset there so you can listen to the umpteen million different podcasts, or more so meditations, guided meditations, a place to go quiet. And maybe it's just silence. Maybe you have earbuds where you can just go silent and listen to the still small voice within. So as a couple, you could go to this place and have this conversation with this child you're inviting, and dream into the kind of parenting you want to have for this world. If you're thinking about all of us, this one little beautiful blue marble, where we're bringing in beings that are wanting to contribute to the good for all. And so imagine your heart's really opening up and speaking to this other plane where this being exists, this phenomenal child of yours. And you could do it ritualistically. I've worked with couples where they would draw a mandala, or they would draw a picture symbolizing their unity, their coming together for this child. Trying to tune into the sense of who this person could be in our family. I've done this with families who had like a couple children, and now they're having their third child, and they would say, oh, we've got some, what does our family look like, and who could this third player be? Maybe it's somebody has bring in more of a sense of humor, or more of a great love for the outdoors. And you can kind of maybe even invite these qualities from the heavens, musicality, or athleticism, or whatever your family would be embellished by. You could dream into that, and you could call it in. And I have seen people do that, and it's crazy how it works. So consciously intending to invite a being from the highest place, maybe a being that brings certain qualities and gifts. I've known parents that said, I'm really praying for a child that sleeps really well, and that, because I really need it, because I have these other children, I have this job, and I need a baby that sleeps well. And that works too. So who knows how the metaphysics works right now, but I can see that over the years, conscious intending does have an effect. And so, as you're doing this invocating, so you're invocating a family that is aspiring as high as it possibly can, or wants pregnancy to become an event where the couple goes even deeper in their experience of each other, and that it's connected to the baby, that there's an ongoing conversation from father and mother to the baby while pregnancy is happening. For those 9 months, you can be communicating with the baby and talking about your feelings and talking about your parenting with that baby, and inviting certain things, and explaining the world, or whatever, how you're reading books, whatever. But may this conversation start before the baby gets here and continue into pregnancy, and even during the birthing times. In labor, you can have a conversation with your baby, say, oh, it looks like your head's asynclitic. Can you help kind of move it a little so this can come out more easily? Or, all sorts of conversations in labor can be happening. And if you have a really lovely established connection, it's also very amazing how that works too. And so, going from that etheric plane of communication, moving into the body, you'd want to start preparing your body to be in receiving mode. So the more relaxed the body is, the more able it is to become pregnant quickly. So there are people who've had fertility issues, and as soon as they relax, they go on vacation, or they decide maybe they would adopt, or they start to relax the being, boom, they get pregnant. So restfulness and relaxation which is kind of a sign for, when you're restful, it's a sign for trusting, just trusting the universe, trusting the way the flow is, trusting the timing of when a child would come, that everything has its own timing. And when you rest in that way of being, the hormones line up with that. Progesterone is not inhibited by cortisol, by adrenaline, by go careers. It's restful. And so that would be the first thing, is get a habit of where neurologically you're feeling more at peace. And so maybe you're doing breath work, maybe you're doing yoga, maybe you're doing that quiet time at your altar space in your home every day for a minimal of a few minutes. Sometimes when somebody's in a real hurry, they could go sit in the cushion and say, hey, divine, I was going to do a 20-minute meditation, but I can't. I got to catch that bus. But just know I want to be connected to you all throughout the day. And then, a simple prayer like that of connectivity, which is really what religion and spirituality is about. It's about, like the word religion means to reconnect the being, to realign. So reconnecting to the source of what created you. And, the spirituality is about bringing in the spirit. So it's really this connectivity that you're going for. So even if it's 4 minutes in the morning and, 5 minutes of gratitude at night, that goes a long way to creating more inner peace. And so I would say the first thing around getting pregnant is to have more peacefulness in your life. Say no to the distractions, turn off the TV and turn off the phone for a while and just go quiet every night before bed, because the best hormones are in the evening. And if you go to bed earlier, like the first 3 hours before midnight are really great for hormones of pregnancy, for progesterone and all that. So getting more rest. And then looking at your nutrition. So as parents, both of you, 3 months, 6 months beforehand, you want to start creating better nutritional habits. If you're raising children, basically from this size to that size to that size, they're going to need a lot of food, and the quality and vibration of the food, well, you can see that in the quality of their thought, the quality of their emotion, and the quality of their bodies. So you want to become a family that eats well. And so what is eating well? It's certainly staying away from processed foods. It's certainly when you go grocery shopping, first you shop for your fruits and vegetables, foods that come from sunshine. So in Western, because I'm talking here from India, Western stores, you basically stay out of the middle aisles. You just do your produce and whatever proteins on the side. And make sure that what you're ingesting pre-pregnancy is as organic and clean and high vibrancy as you can have it, no matter what your dietary choices. Just make sure that it's not influenced by chemical compositions that are, not great for the cells. So just at the physical level. Then you might look at your nutrients. Some people are trying to get pregnant with. For women, you'd want omega vitamins, and you'd want folic acid, and you'd want maybe some B vitamins if your family's prone to neurological issues or depression or whatever. B vitamins really help. So does zinc. Be in zinc for just a little bit, like 25 milligrams or less. Those kinds of things can really help with brain and emotional stability. You might want to do research on that and find out what kind of balance would be optimal for your body system using nutrients. And same thing for men. There are certain vitamins like A and C and zinc that make for good sperm motility and fecundity and fertility. So, you'd look at the two of you preparing your bodies those few months before. And then creating these nutritional habits, the shopping. It always starts at getting your food into the house. So either you're optimally gardening for your greens outside your house, or you're going to the grocery store and you're going to the best quality foods you can find and afford for your body. Sometimes spending more for organic is worth it, because then you're spending less on disease. Or gardening, of course, would be better. But if you're bringing those foods in the house, then it's preparation, so looking at how you prepare your foods. Steaming is better than frying. The energy that you're chopping the foods, playing music while you're cooking, just having more and more awareness, so that when you do become a parent, you already have started habits that are not like the kind of junky things that we do when we're in college and, just getting any old fast junk food to just survive. Let's start looking like parents that are concerned with the wholeness of the baby's body. And then kind of a reduction of toxins in the house. So you kind of want to look around at, like, what products are we using for the cleaning the countertop or the toilets, or what are the toxins that we bring into the house, electromagnetic fields, or what else could be toxic? I mean, it's just, there's so much these days, what clothes you're wearing, but just try to reduce that so the baby's coming into a fresher and fresher environment that has more life and less deconstructiveness. And I guess the last thing I'd be wrapping up was to make sure that you have a good knowledge base as to fertility and how, when you're ovulating. And there are about five different ways of looking at, ovulation, from looking at the quality of mucus. If it's stretchy, that's right, that'll happen a few days right before ovulation. Some people notice a middle smirch, which is like a little pain around the ovaries as they're releasing the egg. Some people will notice cervically that the cervix is moving